G'day ladies and gentlemen, my name's Isaac Butterfield. Make sure you go and check out my podcast, Cancel Me Now. We have a massive first guest. Go and check it out, the link is down below. Now, you good motherfuckers, let me ask you a question. What do Jack the Ripper, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, and Ted Bundy have in common? Other than being the first results when you Google serial killer, they're all men. Filthy cock-having men. So why are the vast majority of serial killers men? Well, isn't it obvious? Gender roles, all right? Women want to help people. Men want to put heads in freezers. But the reason I bring this up is I recently found a campaign that's happening overseas, and it's about stopping men being violent, or sexually violent in particular, towards women. It's called Don't Be That Guy. And if I can be honest for a moment, obviously there is an issue with violence towards women coming from men, and that is disgusting. You should never do that. And as far as sexual violence, you must have consent. We know these things, and the reason we know these things is because normal, logical people wouldn't do horrible things. If you treat your partner like shit, if you abuse them mentally or physically, you're a fucking idiot. And also, I'd like to say this, don't be a creep, all right? I never really understood how uncomfortable a woman could be walking along the street and some dude yells something out from a car. I'm sure I've said that in a video before, like, hey, that's not that bad. But some women do feel very threatened by that. In a recent video that I made on Little Buttsman, my second channel that just hit 100,000 subscribers, thank you very much, Little Dixon, my partner, talked about some horrible experiences she had as a very young woman.
As a preteen, I got beeped. I had lots and lots of creepy things happen in that way to me, like walking back from the beach. I grew up in a beachy suburb and I'd walk home with swimmers on and a towel. I didn't just like walk around in the nud. And I remember having truckies, old blokes beep at me. I was offered a lift home once past one of the pubs. And then when I had a little friend that I'd hang out with, she and I would go to the beach and walk home, and she got a lot of attention as well. And I think we were about 13 years old.
This is a real thing. This is a real problem that we must address as men, all right? We must learn not to do shitty things like that. Even if it seems innocuous, like yelling something out of a car. Just don't do it. It's a little bit creepy, and I've learned that over time. But I still don't think it's an appropriate action from feminist groups, let's say, and governments to blame all men when it comes to violence against women. And that's exactly what this campaign does.
Ever called a girl doll?
Or whistled at her walking down the street?
Ever stared at a woman on a bus or
said to your mate, and do that?
Okay, so we have don't call women doll, don't whistle, don't stare, and don't say, oi, I do that. Don't whistle at people. Agreed. Don't make people feel uncomfortable. Cool. Staring. Staring's a funny one because I think sometimes it's okay to stare, but I think you can only stare for what? 2 seconds maybe? Like, let's say I'm on a bus, and let's be honest, I don't catch public transport. I'm famous. I'm looking at a lady. This, ready? Let's pretend I'm looking down and I'm gonna look at you and you're a lady. That's fine. See how I looked up and away? That's enough. That is enough. If you make it longer than that, that's when it's creepy. Are you ready? Creep, you're a creep, call the fucking police! As for the I'd do her, like, okay, that's like saying in Australia, I'd fuck that chick, I'd fuck her, I'd totally fuck her. Like, it's not very nice, but I'm sure that women say the same thing about dudes, right? And I think this is the whole sort of thing. It depends. It's all nuanced, because if you had a dude, right? If you're a lady and you had a dude come up to you and said, hey doll, how you going? And he was a mad hottie, you'd probably be stoked. It's the same thing. If he whistles at you and he's a mad hottie, that's great. If he says, I'd do her, and then you go up to him and say, I'd fuck you too, mate, and then you make love and have babies. If he's hot, it doesn't matter. If he's ugly, we should not blame all men, we should blame ugly men. They're who's to blame.
you ever give a girl a compliment? Like, nice?
And wondered why you didn't get a thank you.
Once again, it depends. Hey, nice shoes, nice dog, right? That's fine. If you go up to a lady you've never met at the supermarket and said, hello, madam, nice butthole, that's a problem.
Ever slid into a girl's DMs?
I went ahead and just showed her it.
Right, gay dudes do that to me more than regularly, so cut it out. Also, nice cock.
You ever bought a lassie dinner and felt that meant she owed you something?
You ever got 3 shots in a row hoping you'd get a shot of her?
Then what? Bundled her wasted into a taxi and took her back to yours.
Sure, just because you buy them dinner doesn't mean you get a root. We all know that, right? I once went on a date when I was a younger man and spent $300 on dinner. $300 I didn't have, and I didn't even get a kiss on the lips, right? All that teaches you is just take whores to Macca's. As for the drunk thing, I have an issue with that because, okay, it's not nice to get a lady drunk just to have sex with her. That's obviously creepy, right? But what if you're both extremely drunk? Are you both to blame? What if you're the dude and you're extremely pissed and she's sober? Is she a rapist? I think once again, like with all of these things, and this is why I have an issue with the all men situation, is it requires nuance. No situation is the same.
You ever guilt tripped her? Or pressured her?
Or pushed her into it, and then left feeling like a lad.
See, most men don't look in the mirror and see a problem.
But it's staring us right in the face.
Men are the problem. You got a cock, you're a problem. This whole campaign purports not to be attacking all men, but it's just said, if you've got a cock, you're the problem. Which also includes trans women, so how dare you, mate?
Sexual violence starts long before you think it does. Don't be that guy.
Sexual violence starts long before we think it does. I get it. It's a good message, all right? We have to address these things when they come up. But is it really the fault of all men? And are all these things, calling women dull, looking at a girl on a bus, are they all precursors to rape? In some cases, maybe. But I don't think we can make it a hard and fast rule. I'd also like to mention this. As Little Dicky said earlier on in the video about dudes being creepy to her when she was younger, that's a whole nother story. All of those things that I just listed off before that I was sort of like, oh, it depends, the calling doll, the whistling, all that shit. If you do those to a child, you're a fucking creep and you should be locked up straight fucking away. This story continues in Cosmopolitan magazine. Police Scotland's new sexual violence campaign asks men to change their behaviour. In the aftermath of the tragic deaths of Sarah Everard and Sabrina Nessa, along with Nicole Smallman and Bibba Henry, many women have grown increasingly frustrated by the narrative that it's our responsibility to protect ourselves from male violence against women and carry our keys in our fingers and to take different routes home. I understand why people are sick of it having to be up to women, but the wrong message to send is that it's not up to women. I know that may sound counterintuitive, right? We need to stop creepy men being creeps, and women shouldn't have to defend themselves. But you do have to defend yourself. You can't just walk out into the night and not expect something bad to happen if there are crazy people around. When I go out, I know that there could be psychos around any corner. There are dangers around. That's part of being human. And maybe the whole Don't Be That Guy campaign's not aimed at the right people. Should it be aimed at 20-year-old men? Or should it be aimed at younger dudes? Like, you know, to say, hey, come on, this is not how you treat girls. Like, don't push her over just because you like her. That's fucking stupid. Whilst we know it's not all men who commit crimes against women, all men need to be part of the solution. And I've said this for some time. When people criticize the not all men thing and they shout it down as a microaggression, that is turning young men into almost a recluse. They are fearful of their own gender. And it's making young women exactly the same. They think that all the boys in their class are going to grow up to be rapists, and it's just not the case. The message that women shouldn't have to defend themselves is everywhere. This is Andrea Simon, director of End Violence Against Women Coalition. Too often we see violence against women framed as an issue women are burdened with solving by adapting our behaviours and keeping ourselves safe. I understand, as I said before, that you shouldn't have to, but you do. You just have to. You shouldn't have to, but you do. I know women who have been attacked sexually, all that shit. But you can't tell me that that campaign, Don't Be That Guy, is going to save people in the future from being attacked by men. It's just not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know what you think in the comment section below. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. Toodle over. Bye-bye.